One day, we see a student named Hiroto who has just arrived at the Academy Island and is lost, unable to read the map, and suddenly he finds a girl in front of him, so he calls out to her, and she asks him kindly if he needs anything. He replies nervously that he has just arrived at the island and wants to know where Imi Academy is. She tells him it's in District 4 and that they are currently in District 3, and she points to the place on the map on his phone, wondering how he doesn't even know how to read the map, and tells him not to speak formally since they are both in the second year. Hiroto is surprised how she even knew he was in the second year. She explains that by using the phone, you can see the person's name and academic info if they are lower than you in rank, and she's very surprised he doesn't know this either, because he's supposed to get instructions about the device when he receives it. He tells her that, in fact, he never looks at any instructions, so she laughs and offers to explain the instructions to him. She tells him this device is essential on the Academy Island. You can use it for the map, and it has a special social app called Stock that you can use to communicate with your classmates, and also an app for sending game requests, so if you want to take stars from someone you send them a request. She offers to take him there since he can't read maps anyway and would get lost again, and on the way, she asks if he came from another school, and he replies yes and that he came to attend the orientation ceremony. She then remembers that she also has an orientation ceremony and needs to leave quickly, so she leaves him at the start of District 4 and walks away, and suddenly the grass sprinkler sprays her strongly and soaks her completely. She asks him angrily if this is a coincidence or if he planned it, and he replies with clear surprise that it's a coincidence, so she tells him he doesn't even look surprised, and thinking about it, the whole thing is strange from the start. He doesn't know how to use the device everyone normally uses, and he was walking in District 3 instead of 4, so it makes more sense that he was trying to lure her here, and he tries to explain that she's wrong, but she refuses to listen. She tells him he probably wants to embarrass her and then take advantage of her, wants to play against her. She agrees, so he says fine, but when we finish playing you'll listen to me. She agrees and tells him to send the request quickly, and Hiroto is surprised, so she tells him he's still pretending to be ignorant. The game request must come from the lower-ranked player. He nervously opens the device and sends her a request, and when she opens it, she finds it empty, so she gets angrier and tells him the one sending the request must set the game details, because if the higher-ranked one chooses, it won't be a fair match. Yet he sent an empty request, so he's definitely messing with her and thinks he can beat her in anything, so he left the choice to her. Hiroto is surprised because he really doesn't know what she's talking about and sent the request randomly, and he tells her if she wants to think that way then fine, choose the game, so she feels he's mocking her and chooses the staring game from the device, and the place around them changes into a competition arena, and a flying device with sensors appears, and she explains that this is the hardest version of the staring contest, because in the normal one whoever laughs loses, but in this game, if you make any reaction the sensors will detect it and you lose, and they'll switch every minute, meaning when it's your turn you'll be the attacker and must try to make me laugh, for example, or make my facial expression change. So he replies that he understands. Let's start, so she asks in surprise if he won't choose an ability first, and he realizes there are still things he doesn't know and tells her no, he's fine, start, so she thinks he's making fun of her and confident he'll win without abilities. The game starts and she tells him it's his turn first, and she uses an ability called numerical adjustment which allows her to make him not take his full minute, so his turn ends before he even starts, and her turn comes and she turns her device into a light sword to scare him so he loses, but he dodges her without being scared at all, and Hiroto notices that a lot of people around them have gathered to watch, so he gets a bit nervous but doesn't show it. The girl realizes her clothes have finally dried and she'll be able to go to her orientation ceremony normally, and suddenly the sprinkler starts again and soaks her, so her sword disappears and she thinks about how she's her academy's representative and can't give her speech with wet clothes, and her minute ends, so she tells him he made the sprinkler soak her again after her clothes dried, and he tries to tell her he didn't do it and that the sprinkler is actually broken. She still refuses to listen and notices that many people around are watching and saw her wet, so she feels very embarrassed and the censors detect her, so she loses the competition and her stars transfer to Hiroto and everyone watching can't believe she lost to him, and then an old man comes in and tells Hiroto the principal wants to see him. When he goes to the office, Principal Natsumi tells him he caused trouble on his first day, but in reality, taking stars from students of another academy is a good thing for our academy. But the problem is that your opponent was an exceptional person, a second-year student from Uka Academy who achieved the highest score in the entrance exam and took first place, and the only one who got the title of 7th star on the island. And since she entered the academy she's never lost a game. The students call her the Empress Sionji Sarasa. He feels he's heard the name Sionji before, so she tells him the Sionji family are the founders of the Academy Island, and the current president Sionji Masamune is Sarasa's grandfather, meaning he's a very important figure. So the problem is that an unimportant person like you with bad entrance exam grades and from the commoners defeated her, and that man is ruthless and strict, and most importantly he's scary when he's angry. He asks if that means he's expelled, and she replies that if expelling you was the solution you'd already be out now. That man will do the impossible to protect his family name, but there's still one way to save you, and that is for you to become a 7th star. So Hiroto is shocked and she explains that the idea of the Empress being defeated by a commoner is unacceptable, but if she was defeated by someone of her same level, the president wouldn't be upset. So he says, wait a second, I only have 1 star. I'll never reach the 7th star no matter what I do. She replies, yes, you won't reach it even if you die 100 times because you're dumb and unimportant, but you're lucky. Look at your device, you beat the Empress, so the star you stole has a red color, and he's surprised because the normal star color is white. So she explains that this is a star with a special effect and not normal, and that it allows him to tell one lie about anything. She tells him that before the Empress got this star, it was with the Seonji family and not everyone knows its effect, so he asks her how she knew the info about it, and she replies because she personally had this star, and she tells him that the lie will be a transfer student who broke a record in the exam and surpassed the Empress and reached the 7th star on his first day. She gives him the choice to accept this plan or leave the island today, and she'll say he got expelled because he deceived the Empress in the match, but Hiroto agrees to the plan because he has someone on this island that he must find. So he goes to his orientation ceremony and gives a speech to his classmates saying, I am the new 7th star Shinohara Hiroto, and in the next 2 years I will be your ruler, and whether the one who stands before me is a princess or whoever, I will not lose to her, and if anyone is not satisfied or does not accept what I am saying, come face me and I will accept all game requests at any time. But everything he said was a lie, and when he leaves, all the confident expressions on his face turn to fear, and he says to himself, what do I do now? I can't believe I said that, and he opens his phone to see a huge number of negative comments on the island's social media site, so he drops to his knees in frustration. Then he receives the welcome video for new students on the Academy Island, in which the Seonji company provides the students with the latest means of technology, and all students can enter competitions with each other, and the winner takes the opponent's stars, and according to the number of stars the student collects, his rank is determined, and the highest goal everyone on the island strives for is the title of 7th star. So Hiroto says to himself, I didn't even want to be the 7th star. How did I even end up here? And Natsumi sees him and stands laughing at him while he's on the ground, mocking his words and telling him, but you're really good at not showing your true feelings. Truly your presence will be a good thing for the academy. Then she tells him she arranged a special dorm for him and he leaves her and walks away. Suddenly Sarasa pulls him into one of the alleys in the street and asks him, what exactly is your goal? You found my weak point and put yourself under the spotlight and still haven't told anyone my secret or what's really going on. Are you trying to draw more attention before completely destroying me? She begs him to stop what he's doing, and suddenly she tells him, I know I'm selfish, but I have my reasons to lie. So please don't tell anyone that I'm not the real Seonji Sarasa and my real name is Akabane Rina, and I was always winning in games and knew that if I ever lost I'd be exposed. Until the day I lost to you and you took the red star from me, so surely you knew the truth. So he asks her, does that mean if someone takes the red star, it reveals the previous person's lie? She replies angrily, don't pretend to be ignorant. You definitely know this. So he replies, you've got it wrong. Before you told me this, I didn't know anything about your lie. I came to this island yesterday and still don't even know how the device is used. And this is the first time I've heard that the red star has drawbacks. She tells him it's impossible for what you're saying to be true. You defeated me and became a 7th star. So he replies, I know it looks that way, but I'm not a real 7th star. I only have the red star I took from you and I'm still in the lowest rank. And just like you, I have my reasons to lie. So she's shocked that it's a lie and she exposed herself for nothing. And Hiroto gets upset that he lied about being the 7th star when she's not even the real Sarasa and the president wouldn't have been angry with him. Then Hiroto goes to the dorm that Natsumi sent him the address for and is shocked to find it's a huge mansion. And when he enters, the maid hides from him and asks him, what's your name? So he introduces himself and she comes out again apologizing for hiding and tells him she wasn't told he was male, so she was surprised. And she introduces herself as Himeji Shirayuki from Uka Academy and that she was assigned to the mansion at Natsumi's request. She prepares a huge feast for him, so he's surprised and asks her, will you eat with me? She replies, I'll eat after you, so he tells her no, there's a lot of food. Eat before it gets cold. They sit together eating and Hiroto is surprised at how amazing the food is, and afterwards she takes him to a secret room with a big screen and starts explaining to him that every district on the island has an academy except District 0, and these academies are ranked by scores every year. And according to the ranking, the academy gets certain rewards. So he asks her, do the student stars have something to do with it? She replies yes. The more the academy has students with higher ranks, the more its status rises. And if it has a student with 7 stars, that puts it at the top, and that's why the whole island targets the 7 stars. She shows him Sarasa's game results as an example, then explains that his real rank now is 1 star, so in games he can't use abilities higher than 1 star level, meaning he will face bosses at his current weak level. So he asks her, and you will help me win these games? She tells him yes. promise. In 2 years we will do our best to help you, and not just in games but in your daily life as well, and you must act as a 7th star. So he asks her, but all games are 1 versus 1, how will you help me? She comes closer and opens his device to see the game requests he received, and Hiroto is surprised that he has 42 requests, and Shiryuki picks one of them scheduled for tomorrow and tells him we'll accept this one, and during it we'll show you exactly how we'll help you. So he asks her, isn't it too early for me to enter a match? She tells him you need to make an impact because you drew attention when you defeated the Empress. At this stage most people will doubt your abilities, and that's why you need to be bold and silence them. So he asks her nervously, is my victory guaranteed even though I have 1 star? And how? She replies, by cheating of course, or in another term, hacking. Kagaya, the head of electronics in the company, will hack your opponent's device and control it so you can win easily. She gives him an earpiece to wear and introduces him to Kagaya, and Kagaya welcomes him and tells him there's no need to be nervous. So he tells her, I've made my decision, I'll cheat and do what's necessary and become stronger. And the next day Hiroto defeats his first opponent and leaves the match full of confidence. And when he enters one of the alleys and drops the act, the fear he was feeling shows, and he tells Kagaya, you're amazing, I didn't expect it to be this easy. So Shiryuki tells him, honestly your performance was much better than expected. Then he goes to the academy and meets Tatara, the second-year class president, who tries to be his friend, and with her is Suji, who also meets Hiroto, and after a while Shiryuki calls Hiroto to tell him they found a very suitable game request, and she tells him the challenger's name is Haru, a third-year student from District 11. When he arrives, he finds himself in a huge arena, and Shiryuki tells Hiroto on the call that the place he's in is called Libra, a media organization that runs a news app and a live streaming app on iTube and also holds huge events for some games. And the announcer Kazami Suzuran from Uka Academy introduces the first competitor Haru, saying she is ranked with 3 stars, and when she introduces Hiroto, she calls him the Dominator who shook the entire Academy Island like an earthquake, so Hiroto is surprised she's talking about him that way. Even so, he plays the role and enters with full confidence, and Suzuran asks him, are you excited? He arrogantly replies, excited. Why would I be excited when my victory is guaranteed? So they're all impressed by his confidence, even though inside he's very nervous, and Sarasa arrives at the arena as a guest to watch Hiroto's match. Haru chooses the game because she is the lower rank in this case, and the game she chooses is a 100-meter race by any means available, and she is very sure he won't beat her in speed. So he replies, I'm confident I'll never lose no matter the game. Then Haru's motorcycle rises from underground, and they're all shocked that Hiroto stands at the start line with no vehicle, and he's terrified but doesn't show it. He remembers Shiryuki told him Haru's main ability is speed limit removal, which makes any machine exceed its normal limits, and her next ability is acceleration, which increases her speed. Haru tells him it's too late to change your setup now, so I'll tell you something. I use the ability Intervention Hero, which is the highest defensive ability, and I'm sure you chose 3 intervention abilities, but they're all useless, so he confidently replies, let's start, and the race begins. Haru speeds off on her motorcycle, and before she reaches the end, suddenly the motorcycle stops and Haru is thrown off it. Hiroto walks confidently toward the finish line and tells them, you thought I didn't figure out her strategies? My first ability was full level 7 disable, my second ability was stop, and he says to himself, but Kagaya's hack was what made the motorcycle suddenly stop, and he continues, and as for the third ability, it's the cushion you landed on Haru, so I wouldn't feel guilty if I hurt you. He remembers when Shiryuki told him we'll use the full disable ability in all 3 slots. This ability temporarily disables any defensive abilities, and since it's rarely used it's almost unknown, but most importantly it disables Haru's Intervention Hero ability, and we'll use it 3 times because at your current level it won't be effective enough, so we'll make up for that with repetition, and the rest is on us with the hack. Hiroto reaches the finish line and wins the match, and when he leaves the arena Sarasa runs up to him and tells him it's really unfortunate I didn't see you get humiliated, but I'm glad you didn't lose, because the person you'll lose to will be me, and she leaves in his hand a paper with an address and tells him to come without anyone seeing you. When he arrives, he finds it's a cafe and Sarasa is sitting waiting for him, and she tells him you're late, idiot, so he replies it's not my fault. It's hard to find a place like a mafia hideout when I'm still new here, so she tells him you only know excuses. Stop talking and tell me your life story. So he asks her, was the cute polite princess on the first day just an act? She tells him I couldn't let the real Sarasa have a bad reputation when she comes back. He asks her, what's the story with you switching with the real Sarasa? She replies the real Sarasa was kidnapped and that happened a year before I entered Uka, but the kidnapper never asked for anything, and I was one of Sarasa's friends, so to see what the kidnapper would do I was asked to take her place. She tells him members of the Seonji family never go out before entering high school, so they bring tutors and friends to them, and I was chosen because I was talented and kind. So no one knows the real Sarasa's face, and it was easy for the Seonji family to appoint another girl in her place, and I don't know when she'll return. And if you lose even once, my secret will be exposed, because the one who has the red star can see the entire lie record, and if people find out I'm not Sarasa, Natsumi won't have a reason to protect you. So he realizes that if he loses, he'll be expelled from the island. She asks him, why are you so afraid of being expelled from the island? Is there something so important here? He replies, I'm looking for a childhood friend I haven't seen in years, and I'm sure she's on this island, and until I find her I can't be expelled. And Hiroto opens his device to get Sarasa's contact info, and is surprised that he's very popular on the social media site, and finds strange comments from someone named Siren who is very upset about what Hiroto did to Sarasa. And the next day Hiroto meets Sarasa at school, and suddenly they hear the sound of an evil laugh, and someone wearing a black robe jumps over them, and says to Sarasa, my greetings, my princess, it's an honor to be in your presence, and greets Hiroto and tells him my name is Siren, and I'm the first man who will make you surrender. So Hiroto asks him, what do you want? He replies, your strength defeated my princess. So if that wasn't cheating, I want to see your strength for myself. So Hiroto replies, I'll face you on one condition. The loser will cut ties with Sarasa, and if you don't like the condition, no one will blame you for being afraid and running away. Siren replies angrily, I'm not just a 5th star. I'm the captain of the Knights Brigade, and I accept the challenge. It will be in 2 days. So Hiroto confidently replies, I have no problem, and I'll show you what level you're at, you failure. The next day Hiroto is in disguise in strange clothes, and Sarasa enters also in disguise, and they both move out, and she goes with him to the house, and they are welcomed by Yuki. So Sarasa is shocked she's here, and Hiroto is surprised they know each other, and Yuki tells him, I served the Seonji family before, and I'm one of the few people who know Rina's secret. She then takes them to the briefing room and shows them the custom-designed game Shape 27 that Siren chose, and tells them in short this is a game where you collect some cards and compete on the numbers. The game is divided into 2 phases. The first is the collection phase, where the player must search for cards numbered from 0 to 19 scattered in District 4. And in this phase you can use transportation, and 5 cards are distributed randomly. Every 5 minutes the location of a new card is revealed. Then comes the reveal phase, where cards are shown and the higher card wins. After that, Sarasa asks Hiroto, do you remember the numerical adjustment technique I used against you? This technique allows you to modify the numerical values in any game, and the maximum value you can get in this game is 19, but with Siren's level he can increase it to 30. And Yuki continues, honestly your chance of winning this game doesn't exceed 1%. So the trick we'll rely on in this game will be in the collection phase. You can intercept Siren's movements to buy time and gather all the cards, so even if he uses numerical adjustment he won't be able to beat you. Sarasa says Siren always uses the emergency mobilization ability, so Yuki explains that this ability allows him to make other players interfere even though a third party is not allowed to interfere in the game. And Sarasa continues, the problem is that Siren leads the Knights Brigade, which has 300 members, but luckily we can ignore his third ability, which is the Black Wings ability of the Indigo Blue Star that we saw when we met him. So Hiroto remembers the smoke and lightning around him, and it's just a showy ability he never removes. He asks her, what would you have done if you were in my place? She tells him, I would probably use coordinate control and adjust the device's coordinates. This makes your device think you're at the card's location, so you take it without going anywhere, but unfortunately you can't activate it unless you have 5 stars or more. And the second idea is to use the exploration ability and search for the card's locations from the start. So he tells her, but District 4 is huge, so it won't be effective. He asks Yuki, are there any 1-star abilities that could work in this match? She tells him maybe the program error, because it will make Siren's device screen glitch and display errors. And the second plan is the luck ability, which will make the chances of big numbers appearing higher, so he tells her, and numerical adjustment in the last slot. After Sarasa leaves, Hiroto asks Yuki, why were you avoiding her? She tells him, actually she's the one avoiding me. I used to see her every day and she was my close partner, but I think she's hiding something from me and from the Seonji family, so I hope you protect her. The next day the game begins, and Yuki tells Hiroto, go first to number 14 because it's close, and then compare 17 with the card next to it to plan your route. So he tells her, but 17 is far. So she tells him, don't worry, I've prepared a fake public bus route, and Hiroto notices that Siren took number 5, so she tells him he might have landed near it. Yuki is surprised that Siren took the second card, so Hiroto is puzzled because the number of cards hasn't changed, so she tells him he probably took a card with a number and coordinates that haven't been revealed yet. So Hiroto understands that he's using the exploration ability and knows the card's locations from the start, and more importantly, that means he abandoned the numerical adjustment ability. Suddenly Hiroto hears Siren's voice in his earpiece, even though Siren doesn't have his contact at all. So Siren tells him my Black Wings ability is more useful than the few showy effects it has, and I can use it to send my voice from afar. Let me give you some wisdom. You're making a big mistake right now, and at this rate the game will end in my favor. There are 2 seconds left. So Hiroto is shocked because the game started only 5 minutes ago. He realizes how 5 minutes passed without a new card being revealed. So Yuki asks him, what do you mean? There was nothing to say Siren took number 10, and why did the second hidden card disappear? So he replies, no, it didn't disappear, it was revealed, meaning the card that was unknown until now is number 10. So he runs quickly and tells her it seemed like I wasn't getting new information, but it turned out this was the revealing process itself, meaning Siren intends to search for all the card locations and take them all, and at this rate, if no new information is obtained, Siren will collect all the remaining cards and guarantee victory in the reveal phase. Then Yuki tells him that the bus Kaguya was driving got its route blocked by the knights, and that means all of Yuki's plans failed and there's nothing else to do. But Hiroto refuses to give up and runs quickly to card 14 and takes it, thinking about how he'll get to card 17 before Siren beats him, and suddenly Haru arrives on her motorcycle and takes him there, then tells him thank Director Natsumi for securing me a job opportunity. So Hiroto realizes she gave Haru a license to be public transport so it wouldn't count as cheating. He enters the building and finds the card, but it's just beyond the edge of the stairs. So he reaches for it and grabs it but falls from a great height, feeling extreme pain and losing his earpiece, and says to himself it's still too early to give up. I'm the one who has the numerical adjustment ability, so if I get a third card I'll win. Then Sarasa enters and tells him that won't happen, you idiot. The only place you need to go now is the emergency room, and he realizes his head is bleeding. He replies to her, you think I can do that? I have to find her. She always found ways to sneak me out and take me to new places to play, so I won't give up until I find her. And also if I lose, there will be consequences for you too. Don't you want to continue playing the role of the kidnapped girl's substitute? Let me protect your lie. She admits to him that the kidnapping story was also a lie, and tells him that the real Sarasa wished to attend a normal school. So to grant her wish, I made it look like a kidnapping and took her to the mainland. So he's shocked she challenged the Sionji family alone to grant her friend's wish, and asks her you should have at least told Yuki. She cries and tells him I didn't want to involve Yuki in something like this. You need to give up. You can still tell them the mistake was mine from the beginning. You're just a victim of my lies. Contrary to expectations, Hiroto is impressed by what she did and becomes more determined to protect this lie. And Yuki arrives and is very worried to see Hiroto injured, so he tells her give me the details, and she tells him Siren collected 16 cards, and the locations of the last 2 haven't been revealed yet, but all the company's plans failed and I think the situation is very bad. So he tells her we won't give up, and Yuki gets motivated too and tells them I'll start thinking again. So Hiroto asks them, is there an ability that lets us change the rules? She replies yes, there's an ability called Rule Violator, but that's for people who have 6 stars or more. So he tells her what matters is that it exists, and she suspects he thought of a devious plan. So he replies I'll need to update the effects of the program error ability, and Yuki tells him I'll make sure that happens at the right time. Hiroto goes to the reveal phase, and Siren tells him how about instead of entering the boring reveal phase you surrender. So Hiroto throws his cards, and Suzuran thinks he surrendered, but before she announces the winner, Hiroto stops her and asks Siren, do you know the conditions required to end the game? Siren mocks him, but Hiroto replies of course I know, winning in the reveal phase. So Hiroto laughs and tells him that's the winning condition. I'm asking you about the condition to end the game. So he replies either all players' cards are gone or one side wins more rounds. They get the signal from Kaguya that she's done. So Hiroto laughs confidently and tells Siren you didn't notice something. So Siren looks at his device again and sees it says if one player's cards are gone. So he's shocked because the rule is supposed to be if both players' cards are gone, and realizes Hiroto used Rule Violator. Hiroto tells him since my cards are gone the reveal phase is over and the result is 0-0, so we're tied. So let's start a new match, and Siren throws all the cards he collected and replies no problem. The advantage is still mine because of emergency mobilization. So Hiroto pulls out card 17, but Siren isn't upset and tells him since I have no card that won't affect the result. You're the one who used Rule Violator. Hiroto replies that was just your imagination. I didn't use it. All I did was change the text on your device's screen. And Hiroto reveals 17 in front of him while Siren has no card. So Hiroto wins the match and Yuki takes him to the hospital afterward. And the next day Yuki goes to Natsumi and asks her what do you want? Natsumi asks her Hiroto has played 4 games so far. What do you think his rank is now? Yuki replies he can't earn stars because he's pretending to be a 7th star, so he should still be 1 star. Natsumi laughs and tells her wrong. The real rank is 2 stars and asks her do you know the mechanism of unique stars? When the owner of a unique star loses, their star is taken, and in the last match Hiroto defeated the holder of the blue star, the Phoenix Siren, And at that time the ownership of the blue star transferred to Hiroto because he already had a colored star before, and if he continues and wins all the holders of the unique stars, he will become a real 7th star with all the colors. Yuki asks her, were you aware from the start that Hiroto had the skills he showed in the last match? Natsumi replies, what do you think? It was clear at least that his value was greater than his entrance exam score. So Yuki replies in surprise, his value? Are you trying to use him? Natsumi says, of course I'm using him to achieve my ambitions, and Hiroto is aware of that. In fact, we're both using each other because Hiroto has his reasons to stay on this island and I have my reasons to need him. Then she tells her, but it might not go this smoothly. If he continues winning the unique stars, he'll face bigger danger. So when that happens, what will you do? Yuki replies, don't worry, I'll stay by his side no matter what. At night, Hiroto passes by Yuki's room door and hears her practicing the speech she'll give tomorrow in his class because she'll be joining him. And the next day she gives the speech, and afterwards the teacher announces the start of the elimination battle at the school next week. And all students must participate in it, and no stars are exchanged. And they can challenge anyone regardless of rank, and the loser is eliminated, and the events will determine the best 5 players who will compete in the Academy's tournament at the end of next month, and whoever lasts until the end will get a big prize. Afterwards, Hiroto leaves with Yuki, and she tells him this elimination battle has many things that won't be in your favor because it's based on the principle of conflict state, and as soon as someone approaches you, they can challenge you, and the request will be automatically accepted, but no one can send you a request if you're already in a match until a winner is decided. And worse, if 24 hours pass without you entering a match, you'll be eliminated. Then she tells him, even though there's no exchange in these competitions, you still can't lose. So we must make you a plan to secure you the top player position. So he replies, I think running away will be the best solution in this situation. So she tells him, yes, if you can maintain the minimum distance between you and others, you won't enter any match. Suddenly a girl named Noah from the 3rd year approaches and tells Hiroto, you're really strong, but I'm also strong and smart and cute. So he asks her, what do you want? She tells him Libra conducted a survey about people who want to fight each other in the competition, and of course I was at the top of the list, but you're still above me. But she feels he's not interested at all in what she's saying, so she leaves. Yuki warns Hiroto about her because her title is the Little Devil, and she's one of the only 3 6-star students in IME, and afterwards Hiroto goes to Natsumi, and she tells him there are 2 strange things happening here at the academy. The first is that strange forces will be entering the upcoming event, and they've been sending alerts here and there since yesterday. He asks her, what are they after? She replies, they're probably after you because you're the 7th star, and the second thing is that supposedly every student gets 1 unique star, and IME had the green star, but it was stolen when we were transporting it to use as a prize in the elimination battle. And most likely that was a hack. And the green star has an effect on perception, but the abilities in it differ from person to person. So if it's now with someone who had the skill to steal it, who knows what else will happen after that? He tells her regardless of the attacks happening, surely the one who took the green star is a student, so she replies it's still not clear if the attacks are related, but there's a big chance it's the same person and we want you to help us find them, because they'll probably use the event to target you, so you must retrieve the star yourself. The next day, Yuki and Hiroto notice people looking at them, so after class they leave quickly and the people follow them. So Yuki hides Hiroto and tells him we need to disable their ability to see the locations of all participants and disable challenge requests by jamming the devices, and we must keep running away. After that, they go back to class and there are still people watching them, and suddenly a game request from Noah arrives, so Hiroto gets up and Yuki is shocked that the jamming didn't work, and Hiroto thinks she might have figured out their plan, and Tatara gets up and tells Hiroto play with me, so he agrees to play her so Noah's request won't be accepted. At night, Hiroto is tired after losing to Tatara because she was strong, and Yuki enters and he tells her, at least I'm relieved the sensor device and jamming are working, but since it's an elimination game, the people left in the end will be the strongest players like Noah. So she replies, yes, I doubt we can avoid her until the last day of the competition, and that's why I called the head of electronics in the company. Kagaya enters with some sweets, so Yuki is surprised because the shop she got them from is always crowded, and she asks her, what were you doing while we were in trouble? Kagaya replies, I was supporting you while waiting in line, then explains to them that it will be hard to run with the programs she has, and that's why she programmed a new device ability so Hiroto won't worry when he's outside. And this program will swap Hiroto's location data with Shiryuki's, and any request sent to Hiroto will be redirected to her. So Hiroto asks Yuki, are you okay with this? She replies, if it helps you, I'll be happy to do it. The next day, Hiroto sees Yuki beating everyone who challenges her, so he's reassured she'll be fine, and he rushes home quickly before anyone can send him a request, and suddenly he feels someone following him and gets a call from Yuki warning him that there are 200 people around him because someone sent them your location, and she directs him how to escape without anyone seeing him, and suddenly he bumps into Noah, and Yuki is surprised why she didn't appear on her radar, and Noah ties Hiroto up, so he can't escape and the rest of the students find him. Hiroto asks Yuki to send him a game request so no one else can, and Noah tells him, at least I've achieved my first goal, so that's enough, and leaves them and walks away. And at night Yuki leaves the mansion to buy things and leaves Hiroto alone. But she's very late, so Hiroto gets worried and keeps watching the clock. And suddenly Yuki calls and he hears Noah's voice telling him, "I met your maid by chance." Then she gives the phone to Yuki, who apologizes that she won't be able to return home tonight. So he asks her, "Did she do anything to you?" She replies, "I can't answer that question. And right now we're in a temporary game, so no one can send you a request, but sorry, I can't lose our match tomorrow." Noah has Yuki's hands tied, and they're standing on top of a building. Noah takes the phone from her, so Hiroto tells Sarasa everything, and she tells him negotiation and manipulation are the little devil's specialty. But I don't know how we can beat her without Yuki because cheating isn't my specialty. Then Kagaya comes in and Hiroto tells her the situation. After that, Kagaya sits down to explain to them the game Yuki chose, which is the unequal love game, a card game where each player gets 10 cards and plays only one each turn. The one with the higher card takes both cards played, and if it's a tie, the cards stay on the table and play continues, and there's an extra card outside, so the player needs to collect 11 cards to win, and after 10 rounds the one with the most cards wins. Hiroto asks her what are the card values. She explains to him, and then a message comes from Yuki to Hiroto containing the abilities she will use in tomorrow's game. So they're surprised she's doing this. They find out she will use a technique to make Hiroto take set B because it's weaker, and another ability that will let her play 3 turns in a row without Hiroto playing. So Kagaya laughs and tells them, "And here's where we come in. Your big sister Kagaya will hack the system and our captain Yuki will make the strategy." Then she remembers that Yuki is the opponent now and loses hope. Sarasa tells her, "No problem, I'll make the strategies," and they start predicting Yuki's moves in the match and, based on that, plan their own moves and strategy. At night, Sarasa gives Hiroto a card that activates a rare ability to help him in the match against Yuki, and he's surprised that abilities can even be bought and thanks her for the help. On the other side, Noah is in her room remembering the day Hiroto gave a speech to his fellow students when he became a 7th star. The next day, Yuki heads to class with Hiroto to start the game, with a sad look on her face from what's happening, and on the way they meet Noah, who pretends to have run into them by chance and asks, "Are you two gonna play against each other? Can I watch?" Hiroto replies, "Do whatever you want." When they enter the classroom, they sit facing each other and Yuki tells Hiroto, "As I told you yesterday, I can't lose this competition," and the match begins and Yuki indeed uses the ability to take set A and give Hiroto set B, and uses the second ability that lets her play 3 turns in a row. Unexpectedly, she plays different cards than they predicted and collects many cards in the first 3 rounds, but Hiroto is surprised she left him 3 very strong cards, and stranger still she wasted the unbeatable hero card, so he realizes she's signaling him something and that this whole competition is a trap, and he concludes that if he beats Yuki in this competition, something very bad will happen to her. He thinks about any hint in what Yuki told him yesterday, that she can't lose but isn't trying to win, and considers the game's rules and the odd number of cards so the match can't end in a draw, and suddenly understands what's going on. He speaks to Kagaya through the earpiece to cancel their plan, and continues playing, finding his guess was correct, so he follows along with what Yuki is doing and lets her win more cards. Noah gets very irritated and tells him take the game seriously, so he tells her shut up and keeps playing until the last card he has, while Yuki has the queen and the assassin cards, and if she plays the assassin she'll win, but Hiroto trusts her and plays his card. He remembers that before the elimination battle they agreed on a secret signal, "Yes, sir," and they reveal the cards and Yuki played the queen instead of the assassin, so Yuki wins the card and Hiroto's Trojan horse activates, transferring half the cards Yuki collected to him, leaving them both with the same number of cards and resulting in a draw. This is the message Yuki was trying to get across, that he should aim for a draw so neither of them would be eliminated from the competition because of Noah. Noah gets very angry and tells them, "I'm tired, so I'll leave," but Hiroto grabs her hand and asks, "Why are you doing all this?" Noah feigns ignorance, and Yuki replies, "I know you installed spyware on my device yesterday." So Kagaya is shocked and tells Hiroto that's a very bad ability that makes all the data processed by the device leak and records and monitors everything. So Hiroto understands why Yuki cut all communications and didn't return home last night. Yuki tells him, "And worse, if I had lost the spyware would have transferred to the winner, which is you," and Yuki has taken a copy of the hack logs from her device and tells Noah, "I'll hand them to Director Natsumi and she'll be able to track the hacker and punish you." Noah starts crying and tells Hiroto angrily, "Why do you always? I worked on myself to reach where I am. And how did you win so easily? You must have used cheap tricks to reach the top and become a 7th star on your first day at the academy. I hate people who cheat. I was number 1 through my own effort, and as soon as you arrived, everyone turned their backs on me after all the years I spent improving myself." Hiroto feels guilty and that she's right, and Noah continues, "It was really hard for me to make you two face each other. I even made a deal with the devil," then suddenly realizes she said something she shouldn't have, and Hiroto deduces that no matter how talented Noah is, she couldn't have done all this alone and that there must be someone else pulling the strings, so he tells her, "Be honest and tell us who's the mastermind behind all this." Suddenly she tells them, "No, it's not over. I made a backup plan in case something went wrong, and the ability I put on Yuki's device works in 2 stages. When the main skill is disabled, the destructive drive skill activates, and this destroys all the data in the device, and all I have to do is press start and it will turn her device into something worthless and then she won't be able to continue on this island ever again. Yuki replies if they find out you used an illegal ability the whole island will turn against you. So Noah replies angrily I can't back down now, and runs toward Yuki tying her hands, and tells Hiroto we must play a game but a real one for our stars. But it won't be fair. I'm tired of all this like the devil I made a pact with and sold my soul to, and I can't turn back. Hiroto is surprised about who she's talking about, and Noah continues if you want me to release your maid, lose to me and hand over your stars and bow to me in front of everyone and declare that I am the true seventh star, and admit your sins because I know all of this is a lie. Hiroto accepts the match, and the game Noah chooses is the tabletop treasure hunt, and Hiroto still doesn't even know the rules, and Noah calls him and asks is your partner on the 3rd floor or lower. He's surprised why she's asking, so she explains that in this game you can ask a question each turn, and if you lie in the answer you lose. He tells her my partner isn't on those floors, so the answer is no, so she tells him next is the movement phase, and this is another thing you can use each turn. You can move up to 3 spaces, so he understands that each room is counted as a space, and you can go up or down the stairs at both ends of the building, and he thinks about how he and Noah are now in the hall near the economics room, and their partners are hiding in other rooms, and all the rooms are locked with electronic locks that only open by command. Noah tells him I'll go easy on you a little, I'll move 1 step to the right and end my turn, then tells him that was a lie. I'll tell you a secret, Hiroto. The first ability I used is called double action and it gives me 2 turns in a row. So I'll ask you again, is your partner on the 5th floor or higher? He answers no, so Noah knows she's on the 4th floor, and in the movement phase she moves 1 step to the right. Hiroto's turn comes and he uses the delay ability to gain more than 10 extra minutes, and calls Sarasa who has entered the building in disguise, and tells her first we need to know the rules. To win I need to find the treasure Noah hid, and that treasure is my partner, which for me is you. For Noah it's Yuki, and the game board is building at the largest building in Aimi, and the spaces on the map are set as 6 by 8, and there are 4 commands we can use in the game: question, move, withdraw, and answer. Answer is used when we know the opponent's partner's hiding place, and if correct, the game ends. But for a player to use answer, they must be in front of the space containing the treasure, and each player has 3 answer points, meaning they can be wrong only twice, and the 4th button, withdraw, is a command that lets you move your partner freely, but using it consumes an answer point, meaning answer points are the key to offense and defense, and the partner can move even if their location is discovered, but in return loses an offensive point, and that's why Noah activated double action, so she can move twice freely, and she's trying to pressure me into consuming all my answers first. Sarasa tells him I'm sure the double action ability is illegal and she got it from the man behind the scenes, meaning her other 2 abilities will be even more troublesome. And I think if you play fair you won't beat the little devil, so he replies in that case an eye for an eye and cheating for cheating. Then he asks Noah about Yuki's location and learns she's on the 3rd floor or lower, and moves 3 steps and ends his turn, and Noah asks him is your partner in the east 4th floor? He tells her no and calls Kagaya to ask what's the situation, and she tells him Noah put a barrier around the whole area so it's not gonna work. So Hiroto relies on Sarasa to pinpoint Yuki's location, and his time is about to run out. He asks Noah, is the room you hid Yuki in class 1K? Noah is shocked and answers yes because she can't lie, and asks him, are you cheating again? He replies, what terrible words. I fell victim to your plan and couldn't bring any good ability with me, and moves toward the room and is 2 steps away from it, and Noah's turn comes and she asks him, is your partner hiding in class 2E? He replies yes, and Noah moves 6 spaces and is 2 spaces away from the room. She decides to consume an answer point to move Yuki to another room, so Sarasa tells Hiroto she lost Yuki's signal, and he replies Noah thinks we're cheating so she did something to block her signal, but the bright side is she lost an answer point, and suddenly Hiroto finds Yuki in front of him and she apologizes for cutting all communications. So he asks in surprise, I noticed that, but are you even allowed to talk to me? She replies yes, as long as I don't say anything that harms Noah. Yuki walks past him to go to the new location Noah designated. So Hiroto tells her going up and down the stairs a lot will make you sweat, so be careful not to catch a cold. I think the chill will increase after 10 tonight, so if you don't keep the room warm you'll get sick. So Yuki thanks him for his concern and walks away. After that, Hiroto tells Sarasa Noah might be reading my moves by the effect of the green star, and she might be reading my thoughts now, and we can use that to our advantage. She must have put Yuki somewhere she thinks I won't search, so Sarasa replies, meaning if another person like me participates she won't expect our moves. So Hiroto moves to the 4th floor and activates withdraw to move Sarasa, then asks Noah, is Yuki in class 3Y or 3G or 3L? Noah gets very angry and asks, how did you know? Are you cheating again? Hiroto thanks Sarasa in his mind, remembering when she told him you're now in front of class 1M, so she's definitely not on the 2nd or 1st floor because you could find her if you asked 1 question. And the 4th floor is also ruled out because I'm on it, so Hiroto continues the 3rd and the left side of the 5th are also ruled out, and Sarasa Sarasa replies right, because the right side of the 3rd floor is directly above you, the left side is below me, and the left side of the 5th floor is above me, so we might be able to hear her voice. He tells her that leaves the right side of the 5th floor and the entire 6th floor, and Sarasa prepares several spaces where they might hear the sound from, leaving the 3 he asked Noah about. So Noah gets angry and tells him, since you're gonna act like that, I'll make the location of the final test random. She asks him 2 questions through which she learns that Sarasa is on the 2nd floor. So Sarasa asks him, don't you have any plan? He tells her, I've prepared a way to find Yuki's location, and she's shocked asking when he did that, and he tells her, I found some loopholes in the game and the green star, so I found a way to end the game. Even so, we might fail because we still don't know Noah's 3rd ability, and he asks her for the time and she replies in surprise 9, and he tells her, I wanted you to see it because in the next turns I'll waste time until both Noah and I lose 2 more answer points. She asks him what will happen if you do that, and he tells her we'll find Yuki's location right then, and after a lot of stalling and moving Yuki and Sarasa again, when the clock strikes exactly 10, Sarasa notices what Hiroto meant and sends him a message, so he tells Noah Yuki is in class G3 and this is not a question, I'm sure of my answer, and Noah is shocked and asks him how he knew. He explains that earlier when Yuki passed by him she gave him a message, so she replies in surprise, but I didn't hear you say anything, and he tells her I said the cold will get stronger at 10, so keep yourself warm, so she understands he meant the air conditioner and that Yuki must have turned it up in the room she's in, and asks him, but the sound of the AC wouldn't reach you from that distance, and he tells her yes, but in most schools you can monitor the AC from the staff room, and my partner was hiding there. And he goes to open the room where Yuki is and wins. Noah laughs and tells him I won, and uses her 3rd ability called Different Result and makes Hiroto's answer as if it didn't happen, and goes to the staff room as Hiroto told her and opens it to win, and finds Sarasa there and is surprised why she's here. So Sarasa tells her I found it interesting, so I decided to join. But it seems you're much weaker than this person, so Noah asks in surprise, weaker how? I'm the one who won. After making a deal with the devil and using illegal abilities to defeat the 7th star. Sarasa replies, yes, you did win in the treasure hunt game, but you need to know who the person you just beat is. And Hiroto comes in with Yuki and tells her unfortunately the person who lost in the game wasn't me. I had an ability that could change the situation, and he takes out the card he got from Sarasa yesterday and used a rare ability called Substitute Crap Shooter, which allows him to swap himself with another player outside the match, so he swapped himself with Yuki. Yuki tells her the abilities you activated on my device like the spyware and the destructive drive have a property where if I lost they would automatically transfer to the winner's device, which means they're on your device now so you won't be able to take me hostage again, and Noah drops to her knees in frustration. And Hiroto tells her now it's time for confessions. She tells him that was the most important thing to me. I took something called the intellectual development test and got an impressive score, so I was nominated for an elementary school on the Academy Island. But the schools here only accept the best elite candidates, so intelligence and talent aren't enough. You have to be from a good family and lineage, so it was impossible for an ordinary person like me to fit into a place like this. I felt worthless, so I thought if I became a great figure I could fit in here, so I worked on myself and in my first year entered the top class and last year became a 5th star, and everyone said I'd win in the elimination battle and be first in IME. All I wanted was one prize to reap the results of all that effort, but you took all that from me and destroyed me in an instant, so I made a deal with the devil Kurahashi Mikado, principal of Seiju Academy in District 12. And he told me to cheat and do whatever it takes to steal your stars. And if I did that, I could achieve my dreams. Hiroto asks her, didn't you think about rebelling against Mikado? She replies, impossible. I'm no match for him, but it doesn't matter. Forget about me. I'm sure this is my last day at school and you won't see me again. And I'm sorry I tried to hurt Yuki. He replies, who said you can just give up? You must be blind because you're discouraged. I'm the strongest on the Academy Island, and I don't care if that person is the head of District 12. A failure like that is no match for me. And on the next day, Noah goes to Mikado, so he tells her you disappointed me. After all the illegal abilities I gave you, you couldn't beat one cheater, even though your rank, talent, and experience can't be compared to his. And I won't let you go until you compensate me for everything I gave you. From today, you're my slave. Suddenly, the door breaks and Hiroto comes in with a camera broadcasting what's happening to the whole island. And on the next day, Natsumi gathers all the Academy students and tells them something amazing happened yesterday. The useless Principal Mikado was caught red-handed, and despite his innocent appearance, he was a devious person. And the most important thing is that the elimination battle reached its final stage and the ones left are Hiroto and Noah, and it's time to decide who will be the first player in IME in a high-level battle between the 6th star and the 7th star. Noah interrupts her and says, I don't want to fight Hiroto. I'm a person no one ever gave attention to before, so I wanted to be special, and I used illegal methods to steal the stars from Hiroto, and still I didn't succeed, and everyone in the academy devoted themselves to the battle while I was trying to do evil things alone. so I want to withdraw from the elimination battle. Hiroto interrupts her and tells her there's no reason for you to withdraw. All this was Mikado's fault and I didn't lose anything in the end, so she replies angrily, but no one will forgive me anyway. So he tells her look at the screen, and she finds a student poll they made to see if they would forgive her or not, and the result is that 99.5% of them forgave her. Hiroto continues, and you think people don't give you attention. Even the Empress is proud of you. You got a bit emotional and excited, and you could have been special with just your own effort. And that's why I'm the one who will withdraw, because I'm already the strongest person on the island. So the winner of the elimination battle and the first player in Aimi is you, Noah. All the students cheer for Noah and are very happy with her. And afterwards Natsumi announces the start of the internal academy battle. And the chosen members enter, which are Yuki, one of the 3 who have 6 stars, known by the title Golden Devil Asami Ananes, the student council president, and one of the 3 who have 6 stars, Inamoto Shinji, and Hiroto and Noah, and these are the 5 who will represent Aimi Academy in the battle. After that, Hiroto goes to meet Sarasa and tells her what happened, so she tells him glad Noah didn't leave the battle, so he tells her even so she wouldn't have gotten away without punishment, and I made her give me the green star as a reward for winning, and he says to himself I'm still far from being a true 7 star, but if I keep raising my rank like this I'll make it. Sarasa takes him to an ability shop and tells him this is the place I got the card from that I gave you to help you against Yuki. And when they enter, the shop owner calls Sarasa Lily, so Hiroto is surprised she doesn't use her real name here, and they buy the abilities they need and go back home. On the next day, Hiroto and Yuki meet Noah, and they walk together, and Hiroto asks her, aren't you in the same class as the other 2 members? She tells him yes, they're on the same level as me, but the student council president and Mia are a very famous duo. So he replies, yes indeed, even the ones in my class know their records in the games. They enter the class and Yuki shows them the promotional video released last week. So Hiroto tells them this doesn't explain much to us, but it's clear it's a control game where you try to expand your team's area. And he asks Yuki about the main rules, so she tells them this is a game that can have 100 players, and its name is Steal the Area to Reclaim All Lost, and its abbreviation is Astral, and the match will start from Monday until Friday, and each day is divided into periods. The first period from 9 to 12, and the second from 2 to 5, and the match location is District 0, known as the Special Development District, and the game space is divided into 1,000,000 squares, and our mission is to steal 4 pillars spread across the land to define the corners of a square that becomes part of the team's area, and its color will change to green when it's ours. Every hour the pillars release special abilities called charms we can use, and the game also uses a system called time stop, and that makes you unable to do anything else for a while after using one of the charms, and there are 5 positions players can choose from, and to win we either occupy all the areas in the game or defeat all the other teams. And if the time ends with no one winning, the team that occupied the largest area wins, and the loss conditions are that a player loses all their life points, which are 5 points, and they regenerate at the end of each period. If all the members of a team lose or lose all the areas they occupied, the whole team loses, and at the same time the Academy battle starts, another game will be held called MTCG, and its reward is an invitation card to Astral, and the player who gets it will be a 6th member in the team they choose, and there's also something in the battle called movement value similar to a student's rank on the island, and it's made of 25 levels, and the lower the player's value, the better. They are surprised that Hiroto's value is 3, so he says to himself, so my movement value is also a lie and it could actually be 19 for example, so Shinji tells them we must expand our area at the start to get charms from the pillars so we can fight, so Hiroto thinks about distributing the positions, and he says to himself if I don't take the position of military commander I'll be in trouble, because the movement value of the military commander is high, so I can use it as an excuse if something happens and they don't know it's all a lie. Nane starts and chooses the position of soldier and attacks, then Noah chooses spy to infiltrate and make traps, but suddenly Shinji interrupts and says I'll be the military commander, so Hiroto asks him why do you want it? He replies clearly if the military commander isn't qualified we can't win, so Hiroto tells him same thing for me, so Shinji replies no it's not the same because the military commander's movement value is fixed at 25 and you have a much lower number so your situation will be worse than mine, and the commander's duty is to analyze moves, gather information, and give orders and all that is my specialty. Nanes replies why are you talking like that? Hiroto can use the unique star abilities he has, and he's also a 7th star, so Shinji replies your opinion doesn't matter, I'm more suitable than him, so Hiroto thinks and tells Shinji the military commander can swap his position with one of the players once during the battle. So let me take it at the start, and if you don't like it I'll see the right time and swap with you. So Shinji replies agreed, but with one condition, take down 3 commanders within 3 days. So Yuki replies don't you think what you're saying is completely unrealistic? Shinji replies you're in a position to talk but you're missing something. As student council president I must win because Aimi has been stuck in 5th place for years and I want to raise its rank. And with the 7th star we have a good chance to do that, so I definitely won't do anything to hinder him, so Hiroto agrees to his condition. At night, Sarasa calls Hiroto and is very nervous, telling him there's another girl claiming to be Sarasa and she's not the real one, which means there are 3 Sarasas, so Hiroto is shocked. Rina comes to his house and shows him a video of a girl who looks exactly like Sarasa, and Rina tells her, I want to take back the name Sarasa that you stole from me, so how about we play a game in Astral, and the winning condition is defeating Hiroto, and if Hiroto is the one who wins, he will decide who the real Sarasa is, and I will let him decide what he will do with me. Rina gets very angry, and Hiroto tells her, I suspect Mikado is behind this, so she tells him you're right because he knows I helped you in your battle against Noah. Hiroto goes to Kagaya and begs her to help them because if he loses a star, he will be finished, and Yuki tells them there's a new rule applied in Libra, which is a student voting system to predict who will win in Astral, and this will affect the player's movement values, but that will be in the second half of the battle. As for the first half, the positions and abilities are what will decide who will win. Kagaya replies the company can access some data so I can send it to you. Is that enough? He says yes, and Yuki asks him what will you use for abilities? He replies first I'll use the Black Wings ability of the blue star, then the prediction ability of the green star, but the third one I still need to think about, and he asks her what will you put? She tells him I have an ability I've been saving for a special occasion like this. It's an ability that allows players to swap one ability. The next day they go to the area where they will start Astral, and Suzuran appears in front of them and changes the world around them into an augmented reality like games, and the positions appear in front of them and each team member stands in front of their position, then they see their available area and on the opposite side an area that is not theirs that they must take control of. Yuki uses the occupation feature to take it, and finds the time stop set to 90 seconds where she can't do anything else, and when that time ends the area will be theirs. Hiroto asks Yuki your movement value is 9, right? She tells him yes, and since the time stops at 90 seconds, then it calculates 10 times the movement value to occupy an area. Noah uses the numerical adjustment ability and finds it only took 6 seconds because her movement value is 6. Hiroto notices that when they are in their area, the movement value decreases by 2 levels, so the more they expand their area the better they will move in it with a better movement value. He uses his ability to search for the locations of the pillars and finds they are close, one in the east and one in the north, and Shinji is impressed by him and takes back what he said about him and suggests they go to the base in the east. Before they move, they decide to check the spells they already have before taking others from the pillars, and Hiroto is surprised he can't see Yuki. She appears behind him and tells him I was trying the invisibility spell and found its time stop is 18 seconds. At the end of the day, they all go to have lunch together, and Siren comes in and tells him this is my chance to get revenge on you for what you did. Hiroto replies I didn't even come here to see you, and Siren tells him talk arrogantly all you want, but our team from Otoa will crush your team no matter what. After he leaves, Yuki tells Hiroto his team is made of the squad he used to lead, and Siren has an influential personality and I think his team will be a threat to us. Hiroto asks her and the other teams. She tells him there's Shinra High. They are very aggressive and were in 3rd place last year, and the player we need to be careful of is Tuya because he's a 6-star and does anything to win, and that's why his title is the Absolute King. Shinji adds I heard if you try to play with him, he will try to dominate you with violent moves, and I know some people who surrendered and left the island after fighting him. He points to another girl and tells them the girl over there is trouble. Her name is Senri from District 16, and she is the leader of Tsuyori Academy for Girls, and she's a real monster. If anyone meets her I advise running immediately. Hiroto asks him why, and Yuki replies her ability is very bad. It's called one-shot kill. If the conditions are met her ability can send players to their grave in one attack, and that's why she earned the title Devil Virgin. Suddenly Senri comes in and tells them thanks for your nice words, but isn't it rude to talk about someone behind their back? Hiroto is very surprised that she has a wooden sword, and Senri tells him from what I heard you have exceptional abilities and can make great strategies against any opponent, and you graduated from an American college at the age of 5, and the organization put you through brutal training to develop your skills. Hiroto asks her in surprise, where did you hear that? She replies from a Libra article, but it doesn't matter because no matter how strong you are we will win. He realizes Suzuran is the reason for this false talk, and before she leaves she tells him I think your team is full of holes. Then Yuki tells Hiroto, and finally the enemy we must be careful of this time is Sarasa's lookalike. At night Hiroto comes out of the bathroom and finds a small girl named Sheena trying to take something from the shelf, but it's too high for her, so he gets it for her, and before he leaves she thanks him in a strange way so he feels it's like a question, as if she doesn't know the language well. He asks her, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be in middle school? She tells him my older sister works in Libra and asked me to join MTCG. She shows him her room card and he finds it says room number 415. Hiroto notices her right eye color is different from the left, so she tells him it's a lens, and before she finishes the sentence she tells him it's because I'm the chosen one, so the color of my eyes is really amazing. Hiroto plays along because she's a little girl, so she becomes very happy that he believed her and tells him my right eye is magical so I can see the past and the future. He praises her and says goodbye, but she holds on to him and tells him come play with me please, and she cries. Hiroto goes to play with her in the game hall in the building, and she enjoys her time with him a lot, and he gets her the doll she liked from the claw machine. Suddenly Sheena gets tired and falls asleep, so he takes her to her room and notices that the room is in very bad condition, and that she eats a lot of unhealthy food. The next day, they enter the augmented reality of Astral and face an opposing team, and the team leader is Kanade from Ibera Academy, but unexpectedly he asks Hiroto to form an alliance with them, and their highest ambition is to be among the top 5 ranks, so the competition is not that important to them, and the alliance will be an agreement that neither of them invades the other's area, and Kanade asks Hiroto to set a penalty in case someone breaks the agreement. Even so, Hiroto is still worried about them, and suddenly Nanace attacks one of Kanade's team members, so they all ask her, what did you just do? She replies there's no time to explain, and she attacks him again, so Shinji decides to quickly join her. At sunset, Shinji asks Nanace, why did you do that? He tells her it's good we defeated them in the end, but think about the consequences that could have happened, and he keeps scolding her without giving her a chance to explain, so Nanace gets very upset and leaves them running. The next day, one of the teams in Astral was standing, and their leader entered, and they welcomed him, but suddenly he pulled out a sword and killed them all, and it turned out to be Sarasa's lookalike in disguise. On the other side, Yuki showed them the video she recorded of her killing the team, so they realized she could imitate more than just Sarasa's face, and they started discussing it. Hiroto told them that she came in confidently and said she was the real empress. But in reality, she could copy anyone's appearance in Astral, including them. Yuki told them that if they used abilities that gathered information, they could avoid that happening to them. Hiroto told them they must stay close to each other all the time, and inside the game, they should be at least in pairs if they split up. After that, Hiroto went to the middle school girl and played video games with her. Then he told her it was getting late, and she replied that she was having so much fun she didn't notice the time. She could play in the morning and at night. She was so bored before, but today was fun. Hiroto was surprised by the word morning and asked her what she did at school. She told him she didn't go because if she went out, she'd have to talk to people, and she preferred to stay and do fun things. He told her she didn't seem to mind talking to him, so she replied it was because she thought he was a really great person. After she slept, Hiroto went to Rina's room to talk about the lookalike. He told her that people now called her Miss 100 Faces. She replied that she was sure people would stop trusting their friends because of her, and teams could destroy themselves because of suspicion. He told her that the team most likely to be affected by what she was doing was his team, and also if he didn't take out 2 military leaders today, Shinji would take leadership from him. Rina was surprised he put such a challenge on leadership, so he told her he was sorry but was prepared. She asked if he meant he had a plan, and he said yes, and he sneaked in to talk to her about it. The next day, Miss 100 Faces continued infiltrating teams and taking them out one after the other. At the same time, Hiroto and the others were walking, with Nanace ahead of them. Shinji yelled at her to walk beside them so they wouldn't lose each other. Suddenly, fog surrounded them and disappeared again. Shinji became suspicious of Nanace and asked her about a gift he gave her before. She told him, of course, she didn't remember, and he accused her, so they argued. Fortunately, the day ended, and they exited the game's augmented reality. Nanace got mad at Shinji and told them she wouldn't continue, then left. Before Shinji went after her, he told them he might not play again that day because he needed to calm her down. Yuki asked him about the leader challenge, and he replied, let's just say I'm not qualified to be a military leader anyway, and left. They entered the game again after the break, and suddenly Kagaya told Hiroto she knew she was late, but that they were surrounded now. Unfortunately, Senri's team appeared even though Hiroto's team wasn't full at the moment, and another team of 2 appeared. Yuki told Hiroto she'd leave Senri's team to him, and she and Noah would take out the other team, and she chased after them. Senri was surprised they left him to fight 5 alone, but Hiroto confidently told them that even if they were more, they weren't his match. He shot one of Senri's team members, lowering her HP, but Senri wondered where the shot came from. Hiroto pulled out a staff and quickly fired another shot, killing her, even though he was supposed to wait for the time stop to shoot again. Senri got angry, and Yuki appeared next to Hiroto, and they realized she had tricked them and hadn't gone with Noah at all. She had been hiding and then attacked. Senri launched her deadly strike at Hiroto, but Yuki jumped in front of him with her shield, lowering her HP to just 1 point. Hiroto decided they should run quickly. Senri was surprised that the area beneath her was theirs, but it was just an illusion Hiroto had made. As they ran, Yuki told him she had an idea but would have to risk her life. Would he trust her? He said, of course, he always trusted her. She stood in front of Senri and her team, and Senri fired at her, but suddenly the shot vanished and hit her teammate instead. Yuki laughed and told them she used numerical modification to change the shot's target. Hiroto was very impressed because it was something difficult and required complex calculations, yet she managed to do it quickly. The chase continued, and Senri admitted to herself that facing Hiroto was indeed as hard as she had heard. Suddenly, one of her team members stepped on a trap and died. Hiroto told her their teammate Noah was the best at setting traps. Senri told him it was a good plan but had flaws, like the fact that he used many counterspells, and she was sure he didn't have any attack spells left. He told her she didn't even know how many counterspells he had used. She replied, 35, and Hiroto and Yuki were shocked she had managed to count them. Yuki stood in front of Hiroto to protect him, so the last member of Senri's team used the snake technique to bind Yuki. Senri told him that ability was called Medusa's Eye, which paralyzed the opponent for a minute, and with that, their victory was guaranteed. He asked her if she was sure and reminded her that for her to fire her shot, her teammates usually helped her. She replied that, on the contrary, when she was alone, the shot's effect was much stronger, but unfortunately, she had used an ability to change the conditions for using it, so she couldn't use it without her teammates. But now she had to remove that restriction. Suddenly, she killed her teammate to be alone so her shot would be stronger. She fired her shot at Hiroto with all her strength, but suddenly Anya appeared elsewhere and fired his beam at her. She dodged it and asked in surprise how. It was supposed to be that the place he was standing on wasn't part of his area. He told her there was something she misunderstood. That was the effect of the Black Wings ability, which allowed him to change the shape of anything he wanted. He grabbed his sword to finish the fight, but it suddenly disappeared from his hand. That was because of the electronic interference ability, which allowed tampering with Senri's time stop, and she left him and ran away. Hiroto told Yuki that this electronic interference thing was strange because if she had used an offensive spell with it, she could have taken them out easily. Noah returned to them after she had taken out the other team alone, but she noticed something strange. Despite them taking out those teams, their areas on the map hadn't transferred to Aimi. Hiroto opened the map and saw she was right. Noah continued, saying that the two she fought had said something strange like, working with Miss 100 Faces. Hiroto thought about Mikado and how he was surely involved in this as well. At night in the hotel, Shinji apologized to Hiroto for what happened while they weren't there. Hiroto asked him to tell the truth. Did he really suspect Nanes? He replied no, he just wanted to annoy her because she was too foolish and honest and didn't know how to deal with cruelty. So if she had continued, she would have broken down, and he didn't want that to happen. Hiroto was surprised that Shinji was speaking more honestly than before. Suddenly, they found Nanes standing behind the pillar, having heard what they said, and Shinji felt extremely embarrassed. After that, Hiroto told Shinji that when he watched the recording of their last battle, he noticed that the member of Kanade's team whom Nanes attacked was actually going to attack them first. Shinji apologized to Nanes because he had thought she acted recklessly without thinking. She told him she had to do that because their reputation was dropping due to them having no area or spells anymore, and Hiroto had also been eliminated. Shinji was shocked and asked him what she meant. Hiroto remembered that at the end of the day yesterday, before leaving Astral, he had told Noah and Yuki, "Trust me," then shot himself and left Astral. Shinji grabbed him by the clothes and asked if he had done that because of the challenge between them. Hiroto replied that yes, the challenge was one of the reasons but not the only one. Shinji asked if he meant that leaving would help Aimi win. Hiroto confidently replied that Miss 100 Faces had turned Astral upside down and now had groups working under her, and they were her enemies even though they were the least important. So they wouldn't be able to win except with a smart plan. But not to worry, everything was going according to his plan. And on the next day, Hiroto and Sarasa went to Suzumi, and she was shocked that Sarasa came with him because she was expecting only him. He explained that Sarasa was competing with Miss 100 Faces on who would defeat her. Then he told her, "Tell me, in the impersonation video of the Tokuyo Academy leader, I noticed you were upset about it, but when the video was shown on TV, it had praise for Miss 100 Faces written on it. Why is Libra on the side of someone bad like her?" She replied, "No, I can't tell you and get you involved in this matter." Sarasa moved closer and told her, "Don't underestimate our strength." Suzumi told them, "Miss 100 Faces is an unofficial player and not from any academy, and she's not even allowed to play at all. She uses a fake account, and I think she has an ally from Astral's management committee." Hiroto thought it was Mikado. Suzumi continued, "Miss 100 Faces data is spread everywhere, and all the settings were tampered with so she can do whatever she wants. Basically a cheating character with all the advantages. When I discovered that, I felt a huge responsibility because if she keeps winning like this, it would be a huge disaster in the history of Academy Island, and Libra would take all the blame and fault." Suzumi cried over all her hard work that would be wasted after staying up nights planning for Astral. Hiroto reassured her that he would save Libra and that Miss 100 Faces wasn't a threat to them. Suzumi took them to a place with screens, and they saw the unified army ability that Miss 100 Faces used. This ability made it so that if she became first place, all the academies in alliance with her would be in second place. Hiroto understood that this was the solid reason that made all the academies join her. Suzumi told them that right now she had 7 academies. Hiroto realized that Senri wasn't trying to escape at that time. She was aiming to tie for second place with the rest of the academies. Then Sarasa told Hiroto, "I found a name on the screen I hate. It's Kirigaya Tuya, the owner of the Black Star, and he's probably more annoying than the Devilish Maiden." He told her the situation was tough, but they could gather the remaining academies into an alliance through Libra, and Miss 100 Faces currently had less than half the entire area, meaning if all the other teams united with them against her, they would win. He told them, "What's left is for me to return to Astral, and with strength, and for that, I'll go to MTCG and get the Joker card that will bring me back." Yuki told him, "You only have tomorrow, so you must finish it quickly." He asked Suzumi, "What's the fastest way to get the Joker card?" She replied, "You must defeat the 6th assassin in the hidden mission." He asked, "Who is it?" She told him, "It's an outside participant from middle school." He asked in surprise, "You mean Shina Tsumuji?" She was surprised he knew her and told him, "Yes, and right now she's the leader in MTCG." On the next day, Hiroto entered MTCG, and Suzumi was with him in the form of a pet he could train and fight with. She explained to him first that the most important things in this game were the cards, missions, and coins. The cards were numbered from 1 to 9, and if he collected them, he would know the level of the creature he had. There were 5 stages of missions, and the goal in each was to defeat the opponent's creature. The win condition in the game was that the challenger had to guess the opponent's creature's level, and if correct, the challenger won, but if wrong, the challenger lost. To level up his creature, he had 2 options, either card trading or the boost button, which took longer. To trade, he had to place a coin in the card and swap it with someone else, and that was the easier way to raise the level. There was something called a skill card he could buy, and he could only carry 5 cards in total, 3 number cards and 2 skill cards. Kanade appeared in front of him, already at stage 5, and told him, "Impossible for you to reach me." Senri's team member who was sacrificed so she could use her shot appeared and asked Hiroto what card he wanted. He replied, "Number 4. She offered to trade it with him for number 1 and 100 coins. Hiroto was surprised she'd give up the card at such a cheap price. She asked him, "You want to defeat Miss 100 Faces, right?" He replied with a question, "What if I do want to defeat her?" She told him, "Our leader is always reliable, and I'm sure she made the right decision in forming an alliance with Miss 100 Faces, but she had to do it because we're weak, and I'm ashamed of myself, so I want to help you return to Astral and defeat her." He agreed and thanked her for the card, and found that he had ranked up to level 6 thanks to her card. He started searching for a new opponent, entered a fight with someone, and their creature turned out to be a snake. Suzumi jumped off Hiroto's shoulder and stood in front of it. Hiroto used a prize boost card, then it was the opponent's turn and he used a rank up card. Hiroto decided to use a rank up card too to change his numbers. In the reveal phase, both creatures were at level 7, so Hiroto won for guessing the opponent's numbers correctly. Hiroto went to the card trade station and asked to trade a number card for a prize boost card. Everyone was shocked he wanted to trade a number card even though it was the one that would make him win. When he traded, he got 99,000 coins in difference. Suzumi told him, "Well done. No one had thought of that loophole before." After that, he went and fought people one after another, raising his rank, and returned the 3rd card he had traded earlier with Libra's help. Suddenly, Tatara called him with Suji, and they decided to give him the 2 number 9 cards they had without anything in return because they wanted him to win in Astral. After that, Kagaya called him and told him, "I managed to get to the personal data, but the security level is high, and I'm stuck at the last password, and I think it's the leader's level, but decrypting will take time to know that level. Try to find it and tell me." He heard Kanade's laughter as he was about to fight Shina at the boss tower. The fight started, and Kanade brought out his dragon at level 33. Shina sent out the doll Hiroto had given her, and it pounced on Kanade's dragon, taking it down. Then she told Hiroto, "Come up and fight me." Hiroto climbed the tower, and Shina was very excited to fight him. She told him, "I will win this match for sure." Hiroto was surprised and thought to himself, this game's idea is just matching numbers. But then he realized the reason and asked her, "Your level is negative, right?" She was surprised he figured out something like that so fast and told him, "My level is -99 because my creature is a hellhound, so my level is reversed." Kaguya heard the level, entered the password, and it worked. She hacked the system and changed Shina's level to 30, the same as Hiroto's, so he won the match. Suddenly, he asked Shina, "Are you Miss 100 Faces?" She told him, "Yes, and next time we'll fight in Astral." Hiroto ran quickly to Libra's room and took the mic from Suzuran. All the competitors were shocked he managed to come back again. He told them, "I got the Joker card from MTCG and returned, and I found out that Miss 100 Faces isn't even a player. She's just an enemy character the administrators put among us to make things more exciting. So will you let a character like that trick you all? I know the situation is bleak, but if you don't want to lose to cheating, come and let's all form an alliance against her." They all agreed and formed the alliance. Hiroto entered Astral again, and Mikado got angry when he saw him. Hiroto reviewed the situation with his team, telling them that before finishing the first period of the fourth day, he had convinced all the teams not under Miss 100 Faces' control to be with them. Yuki told him that Aimi now had 20 active players while Miss 100 Faces only had 14, but Noah said they had far stronger firepower. Shinji added that even if they had the numbers, they had no chance against the strong teams with her. Hiroto replied that Miss 100 Faces was an unofficial player supported by Mikado and was surely using illegal methods to change the settings, giving her maxed out movement value, endless spells, the full map from the start, and on top of that, 999 life points. They were all shocked because that meant she could never die. But he told them there was still one way to defeat her, the Devil Virgin. Even with 999 life points, her one-shot kill skill could take her out, but they would have to defeat her first so she would listen and agree to help. Yuki told him they would need a plan if they were going to fight her. He replied that they would expand their area until reaching the area of their allies Umi, and if they gave them a base, they could adjust the whole area to belong to Aimi, giving them the advantage. Hiroto decided to play the bait role to lure the enemy away. They went to face Senri and her new team from Miss 100 Faces' side, and Hiroto noticed she was standing far back, not intending to fight. Suddenly, the ground beneath them turned green, and they realized they were in his area. An ally attacked, but the enemy took him out. Then the enemy lunged at Hiroto, but Yuki stood in front with her shield and blocked the hit. Nanace counterattacked, taking down one of them, then rushed at the next, dodged his strikes, and defeated him. Senri then decided to step in and took out one of Hiroto's allies, so Nanace quickly charged at her. Senri launched her lethal strike, but it suddenly veered away from Nanace. Senri dodged Nanace's attack, shocked, and Shinji told her it was his ability that let him change her attack target, making himself the target, but since he was out of range, it didn't hit him. Nanace rushed at her again, using her ranged strike ability, and managed to defeat her. Hiroto told her about her teammate he had met in MTCG, saying she was upset because she had surrendered to Miss 100 Faces, and that they wanted to be stronger to fight alongside her. She told him he was right and to go ahead and take her out, but he said she had to do something for him first. Meanwhile, Sarasa was hiding from Miss 100 Faces and waiting for Hiroto. Tuya and Siren were walking together with a girl named Shizuku when Hiroto and the others appeared in front of them. Tuya told him they had orders to take out him and the Empress. Nanace attacked first, but Shizuku quickly blocked her strike, and before she could counter, Nanace stepped back. Siren attacked next, but Shinji blocked his multiple blows. Suddenly, Tuya used an ability called Complex Enhancement, which had been a normal skill anyone could use at first, but he had modified it with the Black Star and upgraded it. It combined offensive spells that were meant to be used separately, and a huge black sword appeared before him. He fired magic at Hiroto, but Yuki jumped in front to block it. Shinji stood before him, telling them they had to buy time so Hiroto could craft his magic, then clashed with Tuya. Hiroto thought about what to do, then told Yuki to do her thing. She used the substitute ability she had told him about before, giving Hiroto Tuya's complex enhancement ability, making the sword vanish from Tuya's hand. Hiroto created the same sword Tuya had and struck down at them, but they dodged. Nanace engaged Shizuku, and Hiroto used an ability to shock Shizuku heavily, taking her out, telling Tuya his ability was very useful. Suddenly, Tuya used another ability to create two swords in his hands and lunged at them. Nanace and Shinji stood before him, but he took them both out with one powerful blow. Noah stood in front of Hiroto and Yuki and attacked Tuya, but he overwhelmed her with extremely fast and powerful strikes, taking her out. She said goodbye to Hiroto and left the game. but suddenly, her ability activated and bound Tuya. Still, he managed to free himself with an energy barrier ability. Suddenly, a bullet pierced his body from inside the barrier, and he was shocked to see it was fired by Siren, his teammate. Siren told him he did it for Sarasa and remembered when Hiroto had called him asking for help to save Sarasa from Miss 100 Faces. He told him that since his betrayal had been exposed, he had to withdraw, then shot himself and left the game. Meanwhile, Sarasa was fighting Miss 100 Faces, trying to withstand her attacks. Suddenly, Senri leaped from behind Miss 100 Faces and launched her lethal strike. Sarasa was happy they had finally gotten rid of her, but suddenly Miss 100 Faces fired a bullet from a gun at Senri, knocking her out of the game. She summoned her scythe, and just before Sarasa could be eliminated as well, the bell for the end of the period rang. Hiroto stood thinking that he should have expected Senri's strike might not affect her, and Sarasa came in, and he told her there was something important he needed to tell her. Hide here for a while. He summoned his team members and told them that as they knew, their attempt had failed, and they probably would not win against Miss 100 Faces, or rather Sheena. Nanace asked him if that meant they had given up. He replied, of course not, as long as the enemy was doing what was needed, they would do the same. He would make another game inside Astral. They all trusted him and agreed to help, and he walked off thinking about how to get Sheena to enter the game he would make. Suddenly, Sheena appeared before him and told him to come play. He went with her to the room and they played video games, and she lost to him as usual. Hiroto was surprised she was acting like nothing had happened, so he asked if she really was Miss 100 Faces. She told him yes. He asked how she got involved in all this. She told him she did not like school, so she was always at home playing. She entered middle school and thought she was close to finishing compulsory education soon and would not have to go to school again, but she realized if she did not enter high school, she would not be able to play the star-stealing game, and she did not want to miss it, so she modified her device and installed a special program. Hiroto was shocked that was all it took for someone to make a fake account on the Academy Island. Sheena continued, saying one day she got a message from a man named Mikado. She thought. He said he wanted her to join him and his group and that they would benefit greatly from her talent. The matter felt very suspicious, like an evil organization. She went to him, and he gave her a star that let her make a copy of anyone, and in return, he asked her to send a declaration of war, the message where she said she would defeat him and the Empress. She lay on his lap and told him tomorrow would be the final battle, the last day she could play with him. He carried her to her bed and thought that she knew nothing about him or Sarasa and was just going along with it, seeing all this as just a game and not intending to surrender. He thought he had to convince her the game was over. The next day, the three surviving members, Sarasa, Sheena, and Hiroto, gathered. Hiroto asked Sheena if she could return to her normal form, and she obeyed and returned. Then he told her it was the first time they fought each other in a field. Could they review what was happening? Only 3 academies had not been eliminated: Uka, Aimi, and Seiho. She told him she had the most areas and the highest status. He told her she was right but had forgotten something. Before this event began, she and Sarasa had fought, and she had boldly declared war on her in a video. She admitted that was true. He continued, asking if she remembered the main rule of the game she challenged Sarasa in. She told him whoever defeated her was the winner. He said that was right, meaning their astral ranking did not matter. And she had also said that if they could not defeat her, she would be the winner and decide what to do with Sarasa and her. When she remembered, she was annoyed she had said that. He told her that meant he could win this battle just by running away, so there was no need to fight at all. But if he did that, he would lose in astral. Sarasa responded that she would not lose the Empress's throne to a child, so she would be fine if Hiroto ran, but if Sheena won in Astral, Uka's ranking would drop, and she would not accept that. Hiroto continued, saying instead of all that, what did she think of playing another game? Sheena told him she thought he was right. He told her they would play a game called Crossboard, a board game based on turns that worked in Astral, and if she could beat him in it, she would take the Empress title, and it was an invitation to the Star Hunter game she had wanted to play, with opponents being the princess with the 6th star and the fastest person to get the 7th star. She got excited and agreed. They went up a tower that lifted them, then a square with 100 spaces appeared before them from the total area of the augmented world. Hiroto told them that whoever lost all their spaces or columns would lose, and that this was a miniature version of the big game, meaning anything they did there would reflect on the augmented world entirely. He told Sheena first there were 2 types of flags, invasion or bypass, and she should choose one, and she could only place it next to an area she owned. Second, there were 3 choices she could pick from: disable, transfer, and gather. Sheena tried but failed. failed. Then it was Hiroto's turn, and he chose bypass, surprising Sheena, who thought he was giving her a chance to win. He told her that was impossible and chose disable instead. Sarasa told him they were done for. Sheena asked in surprise what she meant. Sarasa replied that it was clear she and Hiroto could no longer attack Aimi. Now she had only 2 spaces left, and they did not know which was the main one. After her turn, Hiroto would place a flag, and she knew what that meant. Hiroto told them both were trying to defeat him, but since crossboard was turn-based, if he made Aimi only 1 space, the other team would definitely win, meaning neither of them could attack him. Sheena was shocked he had planned that from the start. It was Sarasa's turn, and she did the same as him. Then it was Sheena's turn, and Hiroto noticed she was playing just to have fun and not intending to cheat. Suddenly, they saw spaces being taken without Sheena doing anything, and copies of already eliminated players appeared. Hiroto told them they were like Miss 100 Faces. Surely Mikado was using them to expand his area. It was Hiroto's turn again, and Nanace was in the augmented reality with Shinji giving her instructions, and she took out Mikado's followers, so Hiroto's area grew. Meanwhile, Mikado saw Nanace and could not understand how she was still there, then was shocked to see when Taiyu attacked them, they had used the attack redirect ability. He got angry, then laughed, deciding to call someone to help him take control of Astral again. That person was Taiyu, and Mikado told him to go show them their power. Taiyu replied no, that was impossible because Hiroto could easily expose his plan, and he was not stupid enough to play a game he knew he would lose. Mikado angrily told him he was his pawn and had to follow orders. Taiyu got mad and told him he meant nothing to him, and someone like him could never face the 7th star, he should just surrender. Meanwhile, Hiroto was surprised Sarasa was still playing without cheating. Suddenly, Sheena felt something controlling her body, and she began touching the board, and the areas she touched became hers. Hiroto concluded Mikado was doing that, so he used an ability called tracking and reached Mikado. Mikado was startled when he heard Hiroto's voice telling him he had won everything this time. Be obedient and surrender. Mikado tried to do something, but the device did not respond. Hiroto told him the ability he was using now had let him find his location and that Aimi had 4 players besides him. Suddenly, Yuki broke the door and entered with Senri, Noah, and other students. Mikado dropped to his knees and surrendered. Meanwhile, Hiroto won the battle and won Astral. Sheena realized she had been doing bad things all along without knowing, so she cried and felt guilty. Suzumi appeared before them, and Hiroto asked her in front of Sheena how she felt toward her. Suzumi asked Sheena what Astral had been for her. Was it boring? Sheena replied never, and that she was sad it had ended. Suzumi was happy and forgave her for everything that had happened. They returned to the hotel, and the others congratulated Hiroto on the victory he had achieved.